For a very special occasion tonight, I think it's called a roast. Excellent, huh?
Great.
Yeah.
It's great. You know, I've never been to a roast before.
Me neither.
You know, it kind of makes you see things in a whole new light. Okay. Well,
I hear we're roasting someone very important tonight. Who is that, Garth?
I don't know. Could it be this Greg Marcello fellow? Oh, did you get my phone?
Yeah, if we can figure out how it works. You guys figure it out.
Oh. All right. It's on. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, right, as I was saying, in light of tonight's excellent roast and roasty, we have a top 10 reasons why it's so cool to be Greg Marcello and to work with him in Scouts.
All right. Wayne's World, roasting Greg, excellent. Right. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, reason number 10. You know, we'd all really admire Greg because it would be so cool to be that tall and be able to beat people in basketball like Craig Provost.
Yeah, I know. I mean, he just dogged him in that like one-on-one that they had this year. All right. It was just excellent, and it's that height, does it? You know.
Oh, excellent. Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Reason number 10. It's so much
9.
fun watching him. Oh, yeah. Excellent. Reason number 9 why it's so cool to be Greg Marcello. Because I'd really like to order Roy around like that.
I mean, how's it going, Royster? All right.
Yeah, Roy. Excellent. Right,
Reason number 8.
Reason number 8. Oh, it's cool to get all those little pins and stuff generously donated by the Scouts by some benevolent jewelry company.
I mean, I just wonder who that is. Is it a company led by a trained and respected staff dedicated to honesty and all that stuff? Could it be a company with an imperial statement?
Yeah, what you just said. Okay. Only a Superman could manage something like that. Okay, number 7. The Scouts get to work with a man attempting to further education outside of the sometimes sterile classroom setting. Yeah. Okay. Come to think of it, Greg has joined the ranks of the prominent figures who have given of themselves so others can be better educated.
Yeah, like John Kennedy or Benjamin Franklin or the education president, George Bush. Yeah. Okay, right, whatever.
Garth, hello, what are you thinking?
Sorry, man, I must have forgotten to take my medicine.
Okay, yeah, number 6, why it's so cool to be Greg Marcello, because some of the seniors get a chance to get jobs at a benevolent jewelry company.
I know, there it is again.
Yeah, actually, I hear we have one of those in the audience today. Who would that be, Garth?
I don't know. Maybe we should have him come out here for an interview.
Oh, yeah, come on out.
Let's go. Let's go, big fella. How you doing there? All right. Okay, so can you tell us what it was like? Working with Greg?
He's just such an efficient and organized kind of guy.
Excellent, yeah, okay.
Hey, no way. That sounds so un-Greg-like. Sure.
Okay, reason number 5, why it's so cool to be Greg Marcello, because you get to give your wife cool jewelry and she doesn't know if it's real or not.
Oh, that's harsh. That was kind of low shot there, Wayne.
Okay.
Right, go to reason number 9.
Okay, reason number 9.
Oh, it's not reason number 9 anymore, it's reason number 4.
Okay, yeah, because it's like so cool to go on all those scout trips at as many houses, yeah.
Yeah, I know. Would that be the condo in Madrid or the cottage in Aruba or something like that?
Oh, all the same to me, Garth.
All right.
Well,
okay.
Anyways, the MC's spitting nails over there, so we better hurry up.
All right.
Okay, reason number 1, why it's so cool to be Greg Marcello. Where is it? Right there. Okay, yeah, because Greg has enriched many lives with his donations of his time, effort, and money to the various causes in which he is involved. The Boy Scouts of Troop 28 are proud to be associated with Greg in both his professional and social lives. So, Greg Marcello, we salute you as a pillar of excellence.
Right, excellent. So, we will present you with your shirt right here. See, this is excellent Boy Scout shirt. Okay. All right. And so we'd just like to say that
Greg Marcillo, you are
so
trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent. Not!
Okay. All right. Well, it looks like that's all the time we have for now. The MC is just about to bust a gasket, so it looks like we'll be taking off. This has been a presentation of Wayne's World.
Wayne's World, hard time, excellent.
Yeah. All right.
Actually, you guys should stay on all night. That's the Greg I've grown to know and love over the years. Glad to see you're having that wonderful effect on Boy Scouts. Well, the aforementioned Imperial Pearl, the leading business in the city of Providence, is next. Mike Mara of Imperial Pearl has really been a guiding light, a beacon of consciousness as we've had these meetings all summer to organize this party for Greg. He's been quite concerned that we keep tonight's festivities clean, and he didn't want me to mention any ball jokes. And I promised him that since Imperial Pearl is politically correct, we would not make any reference to Greg's hair loss. We would merely refer to him as follically challenged. I promised Mike there would be no buffing jokes. I wouldn't tell the one about how Greg has substituted turtle wax for Brill cream. I promised Mike all those things. So Mike, I have kept my word to you. Now, it is your turn to tell Greg what you think of him. Mike and the Imperial Pearl gang.
Well done, John.
Mike is really mad at me now. Oh, all right, there you go. There you go.
Hi, Mike. Where are you?
He left?
Which mic do I use?
Either one you'd like.
Either one I like.
Yeah.
What's the one you hold in your hand? That's the one I like
You want the
best.
one holding the hand? All right.
Yes.
Yeah. You want to move around? There you go.
I want to move
How's that?
around.
Move around. What's the chord?
I got it. Mr. Toastmaster?
Yeah.
Friends. I just love that natural shower trick. I think that was pretty great, okay? I just love it. Just a few words. When we get to the serious side of the program, okay? Next person I'd like you to meet is our training and development manager at Imperial Pearl. Her name is Jan Irwin. Jan, why don't you come up and join me, please? She has been doing some very important work at Imperial over the last 6 months, and I'd like her to tell you about it.
Thanks, Bernie. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening, Greg. It's a real pleasure to be here tonight and to honor this great business leader. It seems that Greg has always known that to do business in the 20th century, in this global economy, and often against excellent competitors, that his company needs to keep working for constant improvement. To Greg, this means that every single worker at Imperial Pearl has to be thinking every day about ways to make the business better in quality, output, cost, sales, and customer service, just like he does. Thanks to Greg, Imperial Pearl promises to be a world-class company in the 20th century. For one thing, Greg is absolutely committed to the education of his workers. Last year alone, he increased training dollars by at least 100%. Actually, tonight we'd like you to meet our new graduating class. I think you will see all their wonderful qualities. Actually, they have all come to remind me very much of our progressive, dedicated, kind-hearted leader himself. Ladies and gentlemen, would you help me give a round of applause for the graduating class of 1992?
Who's my dog?
Stand here, please.
As I call your name, please come forward to receive your certificate.
Now, as you will see, each graduate has excelled in a particular area of study. Greg Marcello. This is Greg's standard response when a salesperson brings in a complaint from the customer.
What the God?
Oh, big guy! You guys gotta move back.
Greg Marcello. This person has mastered the finger routine. Greg Marcello. This is our star shuffle rocker. Greg Marcello. This person has become so much like Greg, he has even picked up his allergies. Greg Marcello. And here's Greg with bad news.
Rock for me.
Greg Marcello. This next graduate handles finances with the same thriftiness of Greg.
Nothing.
Greg Marcello. This person has his writing down to a science.
Go get him, Roy.
Greg Marcello. This person is a pro at Greg's one-handed typing style.
We sure will do it.
Greg Marcello. This person is Greg eating junk food in between meetings.
Oh, wait a minute. My office.
Now that you've seen the wonderful results of this training, Let's have a round of applause for the graduating class.
Like that ball head?
Keep this knife.
Yeah, I'm all set, thanks. You really have a great effect on everybody. I'm glad to see that. We're going to move to Greg's college years, first of all. Greg went to Hamilton College. If you've never heard of it, don't worry. Nobody else has either. Greg told all his high school friends that it was the hardest marking school in the country. We didn't believe him. I'd like to embellish on something Keith said about one of Greg's roommates. I, too, made a pilgrimage to beautiful East Overshoe, New York, wherever it was, to visit with Greg at beautiful Hamilton College. Lo and behold, I walked into the room and met Julie, a lovely young woman. Greg took me aside, gave me the same pitch that he gave Keith. We're just friends. I'm in love with Melinda. He decked me when I quizzed him about the waterbed in the middle of the room, but at Moses Brown, Greg played football and basketball, so it follows that he played lacrosse at Hamilton College. Never one to stand on ceremony. Greg Pepe probably knew him best because Greg was a goalie in lacrosse when Greg was trying to play defense for the Hamilton College JV. Greg has lived to tell about it. Greg Pepe of Hamilton College.
Those are hard acts to follow. I have to say I was kind of surprised when I got a call from Bob Marcello on Martha's Vineyard this summer, and he said, we're going to do a little roast for Greg. And as all of you know Bob, when the capo de tutti capo calls, I'm here. That's right. Absolutely. And I've known Greg since we became friends at Hamilton College, and I guess my comments will sort of reflect on those days at Hamilton as well as the days that follow. Give you a little insight into the Greg Marcello that I know. And John, I'd like to thank you for that wonderful endorsement of Hamilton College, and remind you that the Brothers of Notre Dame will only keep saying prayers and lighting candles for you to grow if you don't say nasty things.
Bingo!
That's even. Okay. I was trying to think what I could tell you about Greg's college years that would sort of reflect on the Greg that you know today, incidents that have really developed the character of the man that we know. And I thought that probably I could comment on what a slave to fashion Greg was when I first met him. He's literally obsessed with the latest styles and trends in fashion, which sort of has been a natural outgrowth of his work in the fashion industry these days. And, you know, long before it was really fashionable to appear as though you've just rummaged through a Salvation Army drop-off bin, Greg had mastered that look. And I'd like you to just picture, if you will, Greg Marcello with shoulder-length hair. None of us will ever forget how dashing he looked in his ankle-length cardigan sweater with the artfully draped food stains. And how effortlessly he wore his corduroys belted around his thighs. It really was a novel approach to wearing clothing, and really made him quite a dashing figure on campus. It's no surprise Melinda fell for him the first time she spit on him. I also was pretty impressed when I first met Greg with his sports prowess. Greg, as a defenseman on the Hamilton College lacrosse team, was quite a sight to behold from the goalie's perspective. I was the goalie on the lacrosse team, and I honestly can't imagine what it is to have lived through that, only that my recollections are short because I was unconscious a lot of the time. time after time, our defense folded like a cheap suitcase as Greg just would stand out of the way and let people shoot 80-mile-an-hour shots at point-blank range. But our friendship survived that. And speaking of sports, I'd like you to conjure up another image in your mind. Try to picture somebody of Greg's size playing baseball in a 4-foot by 10-foot closet, wearing nothing but a pair of boxer shorts and a baseball cap. I think the public has the right to know that Greg was the undisputed champ of closet baseball, and tonight marks the first occasion when he has officially come out of the closet to get the notoriety he so richly deserves. And I suppose that I could also, with qualified permission from Melinda, offer a few comments of their early courtship days, which I, unlike Keith and John, had an opportunity to observe firsthand, with revulsion, I might add. None of us can forget those tender moments, and they were significant in my life. I know they made a big difference when Melinda, in a playful mood, slammed the door in Greg's face and broke his nose. Or was that the opposite? Oh, no, this is not about factual reporting tonight, Melinda. You've got it all wrong. Greg, in an especially sensitive time, moved in with Julie, as you've all heard. And
Someone's going to tell the real story.
No. Incidentally, Keith, I wanted to just remind you that the town of Clinton did amend its zoning ordinances after you stepped out naked out of the shower that day. And they changed the height and bulk requirements that the beauty of going last. But the really special moment that sticks out in my mind was that first official date that Greg and Melinda had when Melinda invited Greg over, Greg, who was then a vegetarian, for a wonderful juicy steak dinner. And Greg ate every bit of it. And while all these anecdotes sort of give you snapshots of the patchwork that make up Greg's life, the one story which I've embellished over the years that really is essential to pointing out the character of the man that we all admire is the story that I've chosen to write down in your programs, which is called Pep and Gramps and the 8 Little Cramps. And like many stories, neither Greg nor I could contemplate at the time just how much it would change Greg's and my life, but I think it really points out Greg's compassion, his real regard for the well-being of young children, and his attitude toward accepting responsibility. Greg and I led a group of 8 people, 8 Explorer Scouts, out to the Philmont Scout Ranch in New Mexico. And we never realized just how far our behavior could degenerate until we hung around with 8 adolescent boys for the better part of 11 days. As we got to the end of the trail, we realized that we needed to clean up our act and that we better get these kids under control. So we decided one night as we were camping in the bottom of a large canyon that we would tell them a ghost story that night, sort of reassert our control of the situation. How foolish we were. We decided that since this was an archaeological dig site, that we would convince them, we would tell them the story that there had been a massacre of settlers in this canyon. And a canyon that's about 180 miles away from the nearest town is pretty dark at night. And these 11, 12, and 13-year-old boys, by the end of the story, sincerely believed that the spirits of Native Americans were inhabiting the bodies of wild animals in this canyon, and that there had been several reported incidents of dismemberment, attacks, carnivorous enterprises, all except one kid. And he kept reiterating that, well, something like that would have to happen to me before I'd believe it.
Bingo!
No! It would? So in true Scout fashion, we had our little tent set up, nice row right out in front. And as I recall, it was Greg's idea to sneak out of our tent and attach a rope to the bottom tent pole of the tent where this disbeliever was sleeping. And then at the appropriate time, when everything had settled down, we would pull, his tent would go over, it'd be a big joke. Unfortunately, we had trained these boys very well, and nobody, as far as I knew, ever set up the tent the way you were supposed to, which was you were supposed to put the pole in the bottom of this little loop at the bottom of the tent so that it couldn't pull out. But this kid did it. So here we have this rope attached to his tent pole, snaking through the grass back into our tent, and we go, okay, on 3, we'll pull the rope. Okay, 1, 2, 3. And we pull it, and nothing happens, except the tent gets very taut. And this boy was camping with another boy who was about 10 years old, and this boy was convinced that there was an animal trying to get in his tent. He said, there's something outside our tent. It's trying to get in. Shut up and go to sleep. There's nothing out there. Don't worry. So, one more time. Greg and I both get on the rope and pull it, and the tent rips up the middle. Oh, my God, it's trying to get in! Whereupon both boys went to the bottom of their sleeping bags. Greg and I, jockey-shorted heroes, out into the dark, throwing rocks at this mythical beast. Oh, my God, look at the size of it. Holy mackerel, get out of here. Holy... Roar! Oh, boy, it must be a mountain lion. Needless to say, we scared it away and calmed everybody down that night. It wasn't as funny as we had anticipated it would be, I have to say. But then we felt so bad about it that we didn't feel as though we could tell them the truth. Because if they had found out that they had been scared so severely by a prank that they would feel that that wasn't a very nice prank. So we never told them. And to this day, there are 8 boys in upstate New York who are traumatized by the belief that they were attacked by a mountain lion possessed with the spirit of a dead Indian in New Mexico. And they have Greg to thank for that.
You told the scout people that story, too.
Well, we had to pay for the tent. But I'd like to thank you all tonight for your support and close by echoing what you've all made clear by your presence. And Greg, tonight we toast your commitment and dedication to the Providence Learning Connection, and in the same time we enjoy ourselves in your company and at your expense. Thank you.
I didn't know that Melinda story about inviting you over for a steak dinner. I'd never heard that one.
Your place,
Was that at my place? Yes. I would love to tell you the story about how I first met Melinda, or the postcard I got from Greg and Melinda's honeymoon, but I don't relish